All right, welcome everyone to another episode, if you will, of the Unity of Livonia, a Course in Miracle study group. I'm Reverend Jim, right? And it's good to see everybody here. I guess I'm kind of pausing because I sent out the agenda in that, but if it's okay with you, I'd like to maybe start out things tonight with an opening prayer. Is that okay with everyone?
Please. Sure. Please do.
You know, we talk a lot and we have learned a lot about how to communicate with God. And we've learned a lot about the unreality of what we're appear to be caught up in. And yet, I think that we as individuals, it certainly couldn't hurt for us to make use of this extraordinary power that we've discovered on our own behalf tonight, don't you?
Yes.
I mean, things are looking pretty serious. And it's starting to look like we thought we grow old and maybe life wasn't what we expected it to be, but we accepted our destiny and we're doing it without fear, right?
Right.
And we've got all of that, but lo and behold, looks like we may not go out of here with a whimper like generations before. So it's not to put us or make us better than other generations, but wouldn't we be remiss not to call upon the power of prayer to strengthen us for what looks like will be some tumultuous times? What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Much so.
So we're learning that true prayer is never one of entreaty. What was that? The humble asking, but rather one of understanding that we have everything we need. And the technique theoretically is simple. We erase ourselves utterly for as long as we can. And we stop being something. And again, we become everything. So all I'm saying in the way of prayer is as we come together to do whatever the heck it is we're being called upon to do, we just remember to take a moment to go suck up some of that love, some of that power for ourselves, because boy, you can't give what you don't have, you see. And so if indeed we are here to be truly of service, then let's take a moment and serve ourselves and remember to do that throughout the day. It's pretty easy, right? We're just gonna erase ourselves utterly and practice, if nothing else, because boy, when we can hit that spot, its power makes up for all the insanity in this world. So let's take a moment, my friends, and be still, okay? And erase ourselves utterly and suck up our power. And we're just going to that reservoir of strength and courage so we can keep a smile on our faces so others can see it, right? So I'll just say amen, okay?
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah? All right. Other than that, any comments or questions? That took a few minutes, but thank you very much for the opportunity, because
Okay, thank you.
I can do the ointment in the morning if you want.
Yeah,
I'll just try and
yeah,
stay humble in my humanity and in my spirituality. Doesn't that sound honest to you? Plus, it's fun, right? To know where to go, to put that smile on our faces. Despite appearances, it's all working itself out, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, how can I be truly helpful? So, all right, I'm going to shut up as far as prayer. But listen, Spirit, last night on ACIM Talks, I showed a couple of videos related to Dr. David Hawkins. Have y'all ever heard of him? I know the folks from last night obviously have. I beg your indulgence. It's just that I'll blame it on Spirit told me to talk about power versus force again. So I hope that's okay. But for the rest of you, Dr. David Hawkins, have you ever heard of him?
Yes.
All of you, Gina, Ron, Hilda,
Yes.
everybody? Okay, great. So what I'm gonna do though, let's all get on the same page if it's all right. And what I want to do is show the same little kind of biography that I did last night. And that's Dr. David Hawkins. I'll do it like last night. Is there anyone who does not want to read?
I choose to be exempt, please.
Is that a yes or a no, Hilda?
I do not want to read.
All right, all right.
I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
I misunderstood you before.
I'm
Anyone else who does not? Okay, so I've got Frank number 1, Kathleen number 2, Gina number 3, Ron number 4, Joan is 5, and Linda is 6. And I said all of that so we can get started with this biography of Dr. David Hawkins. He's got, I don't know, 40 books or whatever, but I've read a couple. One is called Power versus Force. It impacted me greatly. And so I thought you guys would like it. So if Frank, if you could tell us, read the first paragraph, please.
I'll start with the top. Power versus Force. Who is the author of Power versus Force? Sir David R. Hawkins, MD and PhD, is a best-selling author, a nationally renowned psychiatrist, physician, researcher, spiritual teacher, and lecturer. The uniqueness of his contribution to humanity comes from the advanced state of spiritual awareness known as enlightenment, self-realization, and unio mystica. Unio mystica.
Yes. Let me, oh gee. I'm sorry, guys. Did I start this recording?
Yes.
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 Okay, thank
you're-
goodness, because I'm going, oh man, Spirit, I did this prayer I wasn't planning to do. Did I even start the recording? All right. At any rate, we're up to Kathleen. What is Power versus Force about? If you would, please.
Sure. Power versus Force. The Hidden Determinants of Human Behavior is a book by David R. Hawkins that discusses the concept of power versus force in human behavior and how it affects our thoughts, emotions, and actions.
And let's keep going to Gina so everyone gets a turn here. Gina?
The book discusses how to increase our level of power and reduce our reliance on force, and how to recognize and avoid the influence of force in our own lives and in the world around us.
And we're up to Ron, please.
Power versus Force is a thought-provoking book. It presents that every act, thought, and choice or decisions can affect the lives of everyone. We think we live by forces we control, but in fact, we are governed by power from unrevealed sources, power over which we have no control.
All right. I'll stop share here. And I don't know, I think if you don't mind, let me just go to the first video if you think that's a decent introduction, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll share screen again and set it up for video. And I'll close this. I have to talk myself through, I think keeps me from getting nervous here. Let's see, I want to go right here and take my time.
Consciousness has now emerged, so a new emergence of awareness is dominating the whole field of human consciousness with profound implications for everyone. All right, so 200 then denotes a difference between, and again, it is not a level of opposites. It's not that 200 above is one reality and below 200 is another reality. It's not good versus bad. This is a thermometer, and this is the thermometer. And the presence of God, the presence of love, is what accounts for the calibration. Above this level, you go strong, and below it goes weak. And it looks like you're looking at true and false. It looks like you're looking at good and evil, but that is not the case. The case is that, you see, water is still water, whether it's ice, liquid, or steam. The only thing that changes there is temperature. Above this temperature, you got over 212, it changes its quality. Then below 212, it turns back into liquid, it changes its quality, but it's still just water. Then at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, it changes its quality and turns into a solid. So you can't say steam is the opposite of ice, or that water is the opposite of steam. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to get out of trying to use this in any kind of a positionality. As the temperature increases or decreases, then quality changes. The same with light in a room. There's not two different things, light and dark. Huh? There is intense light. As the light gets lower and lower and lower, it gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and then it's harder and harder to see. And we say it's dusk or dark, There's only one variable, and that's light, the presence of light. That's the only variable. There's not two things, light and dark. You can't take a box of darkness and put it someplace or say, shine me some darkness in this closet. It doesn't have any existence. The only reality then is light, and light is either present or not present, and it's present to varying degrees. So the analogy is that the love of God is like the light, and up here the love of God is quite intense, and down here it diminishes and becomes progressively darker. When this happens, the human emotion that goes with it goes through the whole panorama, from an ecstatic state, there's a state beyond ecstasy, a blissful state of absolute serenity and stillness. As the calibrated levels come down, you see the shift of emotions. And below 200, we notice that these emotions are classically negative and painful. And here down at the bottom, they become quite severe, and suicide, they even lead to suicide.
How can we define power, and how can we define force? So what are they? One can say that force is movement, where power is stillness. Gandhi was a man who defeated the British Empire without firing a shot or physically fighting, and that's an example of power over force. So the answer comes through communication, not through conflict. Communication is power, conflict is force. Another way to view this is by understanding a simple law of physics, such as force creates a counterforce. Every action has a reaction. If you throw a punch to a punching bag, you will immediately feel a response through your entire body. Power stands still. Gravity is an example of power. Gravity does not move, but its power moves everything within its area. The simple pen has a lot more power than a sword because its power comes from the mind. A monk who can break 20 bricks with just a single hit is another example of power. But his power doesn't come from his body, it comes from his mind as well. So again, power is that perfect alignment and stillness, where force is movement. Now, the big idea number 2 goes something like, to be or not to be is not a choice. One may decide to be this or that, but to be is simply the only fact there is. Human mind is like a computer connected to a giant database, and this database is the human conscious itself. So it's like I'm part of everyone and everyone is part of me. But what are we? We are simply a microcosm of energies mixed together into a sparkling cocktail. And your life is so important and meaningful, and your life is also so unimportant and unmeaningful. Like me now, I'm having this virtual conversation with you and I'm part of you. But if you respond to me, you will also become part of me. If I lose my memory tomorrow, will I be dead? The answer is no, because the idea still remains. It's connected, it's there. That's power. The universe has a single law, and that's economy. All serves a purpose. If you see a fly on your window, that fly can inspire you to invent the next flying machine or whatever, but also someone else can kill that fly and the little thingy can serve as dinner for another animal. As I said, nothing is wasted. The giant database of human consciousness transcends both time and space, has no limitations, and it's simply there.
All right, so was that good or what?
Yes.
You want to talk about it? This is the Unity of Livonia, a Course in Miracles study group. We've been studying A Course in Miracles, sometimes some of us for years, right? So certainly you remember the part in the introduction to the workbook for students where Jesus talks about generalizing. Everything is a metaphor, a symbol, right? So it's not the story, it's the moral of the story, right? Right?
Yes.
So in the world of form, everything is a symbol of some sort of mental output, right?
Yeah.
So if we're coming from a place, all right, so the whole world of form, it's nothing but a symbol. All of it, your body, all of it, right? According to the Course. So why am I showing you stuff about Dr. David Hawkins? Because I think it points, it's another version of the universal curriculum. Is that too deep?
And we're talking about the levels of mind.
So let's talk about it, right? It's worthwhile to talk about. I mean, where else can you find the opportunity to talk about such deep subjects with a bunch of friends, all brought together through the coincidental study of A Course in Miracles? So what is a relationship between power versus force and what A Course in Miracles says reality is? Hi, Dee, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hey, good to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
we were doing a rerun of last night about power versus force. And I showed the videos, and we were at the all-important discussion point. And the question on the table was, what do you see as the relationship between A Course in Miracles and Dr. David Hawkins and Power versus Force, the principle that David Hawkins is discussing? Do you see a relationship there?
Well, God is all there is in reality, and God is light, and light is truth.
Do you see how that insight
Mhm.
is what guided Gandhi to free India from British rule? He didn't fire a shot, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So what power did Gandhi use? What power did Martin Luther King Jr. use?
The power of non-resistance.
And what is it that makes it non-resistant?
They did not use force or violence.
The power of love.
Yes. The issue with force, as we discussed last night, is that it creates counter force.
Mhm.
It has opposites because it has beginnings and endings, because it's finite, because it's form. It can be strong, but it's puny compared to a force that has no opposition. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
But what is all encompassing can have no opposite, the Course says. Right?
Right.
And what does the Course say is all encompassing? Starts with a L.
Love.
Do you see that Dr. David Hawkins is referring to a force that has the same attributes that A Course in Miracles has? It is true. By definition, the truth has to be absolutely true, or it can't be true.
Mhm.
It's inherently its own definition. So who can assail it? What can assail it? What defense does it need except to be what it is?
Yeah, it doesn't need any.
It has no opposition.
Right.
Isn't that the same power that A Course in Miracles describes when it says that what is all-encompassing can have no opposites? Are you seeing why I'm trying to, it's like last night, and oh my God, we'll get to why we're really here. It's like last night. I think it's worth the effort Well, I'll just say it the way I remember from, last night. It's that to really solidify faith in me, I have to have like a prayer closet as big as the world. I have to see these principles at work, not just at church, not just at meditation time, but with my eyes wide open. Right? So when you see David Hawkins, it resonates because I can see not just the story, David Hawkins, but the fact that all things are lessons God would have me learn. Why would the Course say that? I mean, why didn't it say most of the things are lessons God? Why so absolute?
I see it as training how to use my mind effectively and lovingly.
As non-dual, right, Frank? As monistic, only one thing. That's where purity comes from. And the enormous power that purity has, it's like unassailable because of what it is. It's consistent. It's not this and something else. And you start sucking up this miraculous power that before would seem impossible to exist on a large enough scale. But oh my God, this power can move. What are its limitations? When can it not serve me?
There are no limitations.
Never.
The only limitations there are is if I'm living in the illusion.
It's a case of absolutism.
Right.
It's an amazing total. You may as well give up. It's unassailable. Thank God it's love.
Yeah, it's unchangeable.
So why am I spending my time in any way trying to change love's intelligence? It not only knows what needs to be done, but love has a technique of how, in reality, serving everyone in love, it should go. So we had a tiny mad idea that my ego is still refusing to correct. So my practice is I only let them out of the box so far. Okay, I manage it. Don't get me wrong about its power. I'm just saying I'm finding out it can be done. It's not easy, but it's doable, and it gets easier over time when you see the result of your faith in it. Do I have a witness? Anybody feel this thing I'm talking about or no?
Slowly I'm grasping the idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm a neophyte compared to many of you here.
Well, I won't debate you on that, and yet I don't think that's true. Okay, just the fact that you're speaking up on the subject. Listen, all is well, right, everybody? Okay, everything's going according to plan, right? So it's one thing to accept that in theory, but the whole spiritual path is demonstrating it against all odds, right? All right, listen, sometimes I don't know where I'm going here with my friends here. So are there any comments or questions? If not, we'll move into the song of prayer. Okay. I'm gonna take that as a we're doing good. All right. We are, I believe, we're starting on page 7. We're in the section we had just started, praying with others. And we should start tonight at paragraph 3. But do you want to at least let's just start from the beginning of Roman numeral 4, praying with others, so we can get back in the mood of it. Somebody, though, if you will, just starting, I don't want to say others. Let me just do a recap for myself. We did psychotherapy, and that was good, right?
Right.
And then we started prayer. On page 1, there was an introduction. We're into the song of prayer. And then Roman numeral 1, we started out talking about true prayer as opposed to other kinds, right? And my recollection of the thrust of that Roman numeral 1 was unlike a lot of us were taught, true prayer does not make entreaty. And we define an entreaty as a humbled request. Oh God, please get me out of this mess. Oh God, I need $1 million, right? That's kind of in summary. If you like to jump in, section Roman 2, we discovered something called a ladder of prayer. And what was that about? Does anybody remember offhand? I'm having trouble.
Various forms of prayer and degrees of prayer.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Frank. And then we got to Roman 3, praying for others on page 5. And is that where he's talking about if you think you need to pray for your enemies, you're the one that needs prayer?
Right.
You have no enemies, right?
I'm my own enemy.
Yes. And so then that brings us to praying with others, doesn't it? Okay. let's just start there. I don't think we should belabor it unless you want to say something. Our first reader then is Frank, right? No.
I started, somebody else.
All right. Where we leave off from reading before, my friends?
Gina or Ron?
Pardon me?
Gina or Ron?
Yeah, Ron, did you read?
I read.
Yeah, so we're up to Joan, if that's okay.
Okay,
Yes,
are we starting with paragraph 1 or 3?
I would just let's start at 1, Joni. Okay.
Okay, start from the beginning. Good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. After all of that, right?
Okay, praying with others. Until the second level at least begins, one cannot share in prayer. For until that point, each one must ask for different things. But once the need to hold the other as an enemy has been questioned, and the reason for doing so has been recognized, if only for an instant, it becomes possible to join in prayer. Enemies do not share a goal. It is in this their enmity is kept. Their separate wishes are their arsenals, their fortresses in hate. The key to rising further still in prayer lies in this simple thought, this change of mind. We go together, you and I.
Can we do one more before we discuss? Okay. We're up to Linda.
Okay, so now it is possible to help in prayer and so reach up yourself. This step becomes the quicker ascent because there are still many lessons to learn. The way is open and hope is justified. Yet it is likely at first that what is asked for, even by those who join in prayer, is not the goal that prayer should truly seek. Even together, you may ask for things and thus set up but an illusion of a goal you share. You may ask together for specifics and not realize that you are asking for effects without the cause. And this you cannot have. For no one can receive effects alone, asking a cause from which they do not come to offer them to him.
All right, and I think I remember where we were going with this. So can I ask Dee to read one more paragraph? Dee, you're reader 7.
Sure.
Thank you.
Even the joining then is not enough. If those who pray together do not ask before all else, what is the will of God? From this cause only can the answer come, in which are all specifics satisfied, all separate wishes unified in one. Prayer for specifics always asks to have the past repeated in some way. What was enjoyed before, or seemed to be, what was another's and he seemed to love, all these are but illusions from the past. The aim of prayer is to release the present from its chains of past illusions, to let it be a freely chosen remedy from every choice that stood for a mistake. What prayer can offer now so far exceeds all that you asked before, that it is pitiful to be content with less.
And so we've got to go back to Frank to finish this up. This is so beautiful. Wow. Frank, if you'll do 4.
Number 4, you have chosen a newborn chance each time you pray. And should you stifle and imprison in an ancient prisons, when the chances come to free yourself from all of them at once. Do not restrict your asking. Prayer can bring the peace of God. One time-bound thing can give you more than this in just a time space that lasts until it tumbles onto itself, onto dust.
Thank you. Listen, I need to be clear. I'm trying to get as much as I can out of this. So help me out. Let's just review. It's only a few sections. Again, we said the Song of Prayer started out with an introduction, and then on page 1, section 1, there was a section called True Prayer. And we said in treaty prayers, what we've been taught, it's in the right direction, but it's not true prayer, right?
Right.
Asking for things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I got the introduction, a distinction between entreaty and true prayer, and then Romans 2, the ladder of prayer. What was the first rung on the ladder?
There has no beginning and no end.
Okay, well, that's more of an explanation. I'm sorry, but it says prayer is no beginning and no end. It is a part of life, but it does change in form and grow with learning until it reaches its formless state and fuses into total communication with God. Okay, that's to me the overview, but what are the process steps is
I
what
think
I'm
it says it in sentence 5 of that paragraph. At these levels, prayer is merely wanting out of a sense of scarcity.
Yeah, okay.
And
So
the next sentence too, these forms of prayer are asking out of need,
yes,
always involve
entreaty,
feelings of
the
weakness
word
and
entreaty.
inadequacy, and can
Yeah.
never be made by a son of God who knows who he is.
All right, so that would be the base level. And then Jesus tells us about the next level. Is that where about praying for your enemies? What you think, yeah, at the top of page 4, it says at this level, paragraph 4, page 4, at this level also comes that curious contradiction in terms known as praying for one's enemies. And that was so insightful for me. Remember, I'm talking about how people say you should pray for your enemies, and we think we're pretty high up if we're trying to pray for our enemies. And here he says, if you think you need to pray for your enemies, you're still the one who needs the prayer. We have to start from the perspective of truth, which is we have no enemies. And that impacted me. So what the rest of you think of that?
Agree.
It says in paragraph 6, the enemy is you, as is the Christ.
And so you're the one that needs,
Mhm.
okay, if you're going to start from the point of truth, how much power did we say is in this still power? How much?
Truth is all power.
So if that sounds desirable to you, then you have to kind of be all in, because if something for you is 80% true, does it meet the requirements of truth?
Nope, it's not absolute.
How much does
100%.
all of you, is that dualism?
No, it's non-dual.
Are things becoming clearer?
Mhm.
So first we went from stop asking for stuff to, and then you climb to this ladder where you understand you have no enemies. Boy, have you gotten it wrong. But okay, stop it. Stop it. We have no enemies. So if somebody wasn't an enemy, I'd have to stop treating them that way. And see, does that work for me? Because now we're testing out the veracity of true prayer. See if it's going to work for you, right?
Mhm.
So now we're understanding it. Stop asking for stuff. Stop thinking you have enemies. And now we go to praying for others in Romans 3, right? So we just read that. It was so beautiful because let me put it out there and get your response. What's so beautiful? I remember last time we talked about Sadhguru, and he talked about the difference between desire and vision, which is, to me, the point of this section, praying for others. It's not only that I have to learn how to pray truly, but it goes deeper than that, because I have to stop praying as though I'm separate. Ever. Ever?
Ever.
What, to me, what makes this challenging is you have to do all of it for it to work. But the little glimpses you've gotten of it tell you something to this stillness power isn't there, or you wouldn't be out here this evening, right, ladies and gentlemen? So are we getting caught up? Yes, because
Yeah, and
think,
in that section, praying for others, the first sentence says, we said that prayer is always for yourself.
Yeah.
And this is so.
Well, then let's go just a little deeper. Who's yourself?
That the prayer is needed for?
Yeah.
It's my false self, my ego self, that I'm forgetting the truth of my higher self.
Yes. So in language, you're even starting to negate the basis of language. Words, as quote, wonderful as they are fundamentally ego tricks.
Mm-hmm.
Because words require a predicate. They're separation devices, and they'll mean whatever you want them to mean.
That's true of everything in this world, yes.
Yeah. True prayer has no thought.
It's not a form.
Right.
Our whole communication system is based on the tiny mad idea in support of. That's what this world runs on. It's powerful, but compared to stillness, does that make you want to redefine what power is? What could be more powerful than stillness? I'm just asking. Oh, hey, Sue, I forgot you was here. I meant to say hello.
That's okay. I'm listening.
Yeah. This is probably a good place to stop and just kind of ask y'all, what are you all thinking? And Course in Miracles wise.
I think about it that I'm praying to God in me.
Absolutely.
I'm praying for guidance from the God within.
But there's a part B. And Sue, I thought I saw your hand. Let me come back to you. But there's a part B, Frank, that I think we just read about. It's that.
Hey, Pat, I'm in A Course in Miracles. I'll call you after.
Okay. The part B is that.
Okay, I'll call you right after. Okay, bye-bye.
For me, it's to be sure that I pray for the whole. All my prayers go back into the stillness. Here's all I'm saying. It's back to, okay, Miss Newman, and erase yourself utterly is the point of all meditation, of all prayer, because if I can dissolve this self-concept that I have called Jim, I can re-engage with that. And it's not like I never come back to Jim, but I come back with a power and enthusiasm and joy that's hard to describe. Is anyone feel that?
For me, it's about becoming part. It's about and I only use the word essence because it has no meaning. It's becoming part of the essence, and when you sit in the essence, there isn't anything. It's going into the nothing. It's going into a nothing, but the nothing vibrates through your whole body.
And the nothing becomes everything.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm feeling you on that, Kathleen. So
And I think I've, and I can only akin it to, I think, and I've mentioned it before, is when I had my open heart surgery, and I believe in that split second when they take you off of life support, and there's that second where you're in complete bliss.
yes.
You're in complete bliss with everything and everyone, and you know everything and everyone without even having to say, you don't have to say anything because you know everything. What you know is the essence of your everything.
And then some bodies waken you up and it's over.
Yeah.
And that surgery was the best time I ever had because they erased me utterly.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some of the best sleep. Any of you all? And I'm not making light either. It's simply that was my experience. The best time of the surgery was not the worry before and after. It was during the anesthetic. And so it changes your awareness and experiences. But I'm digressing here a little. Sue, did you have a comment?
Well, I did. It might not apply now, but I was going to say I put it another way because I have not had surgery, but I have been enfolded in the divine, whereby there's so much love around me, so much love in me. It's not human love, it's just magnificence. And yes, I'm in the silence, I'm totally silent. But that love is indescribable. And I think the prelude to all this is loving yourself, forgiving yourself, working with yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, even if it's for one thing and not the other, which it usually is, it's not for everything. But if you don't love yourself, it makes it very, very challenging to truly become part of the divine, because your mind is on your ego and yourself. And so you need to forgive yourself, to love yourself, to listen, to be totally enveloped in the divine, to be able to get there. That's how I see it.
I would just add this part B that was talked about in that last section about praying for others. This commitment also includes a transformation, like love yourself. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But have a deeper understanding of what yourself is.
Yeah, but that's part of loving yourself.
Right. Is a redefinition of the word yourself, because now all my thoughts of myself include everybody else. I'm not under an illusion that myself is Jim. It's that difference between personal desire or separate desire and a complete understanding that I'm part of the whole. I can't have any separate wishes when I go into true prayer. It's part B of true prayer. So I'm just trying to make sure we make the full connection. It's not only a cleaning up of what prayer is, but it's an understanding of what I am, myself, yourself, as I go into prayer.
Wouldn't that be part of why some people can read others? Some people just get into others' minds, like they're in the universe and they can see within themselves what's going on. And that would make sense since we're all unity of one. And if you are out of the way and you're in your full divine self, then you could do this. I've done it in programs, and I have friends who do it all the time. Not that they make a habit of reading other people, don't misunderstand me, but they see things that I don't see. And they make sense what they see.
I think so. The only thing I want to make sure we remember, along with all that's being said, I think it's maybe might be a small point, is that I am here only to be truly helpful.
Yeah.
I'll start there.
Well,
no matter how high my prayers go, they'll go out infinitely, because the only valid, pure prayer is let thy will be done. I'm speaking to the stillness. Because I'm not going to get in your way. So how can I help? I'm all in. I bow to your power, knowing that that's available to me, because that's what love would do. I'm very grateful. Do you see how everything becomes very positive? Do you remember in lesson 52, that review lesson that says, reality is never frightening. It could never upset me. The truth is that all is love, and all is peace, and all is joy, or else it couldn't be total, complete, omnipotent, still, doesn't have to do anything. All is well. Everything else is an illusion. I'm going to get on board with that. How about you?
So I see it that when we're praying for ourselves, we're automatically praying for everybody else.
Yes.
Because we're all one.
Right.
No exception.
Vision, not desire. Okay, don't forget to practice praying in vision instead of desire, even with the rest of it. It's a nuance. But that's what I saw to make it all work together. Have you enjoyed the Song of Prayer? You know, we started out back in June saying we do these supplements in just a few weeks, right? I think we're going to be done by September. And here it is, mid-October, and we're still going through it. But let's see, how long is forgiveness? And then there's healing. Oh my goodness, we still got a little ways. Yeah. So we still got forgiveness and then what I say, healing to do. You follow what I'm saying? Number 2 is forgiveness. And then there's a section on healing. And I think that's all. So there are 3 sections, and we've done the first one with 2 to go. That's how I'm seeing it.
Not a quick fix.
No, but
It's not.
Go ahead.
I just said it's not a quick fix.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. What do you mean quick fix?
You said you thought we'd get through this quicker. I'm just goofing.
I did. Okay. All right. Yeah,
I'm just playing around.
To be connected here, and you're right on with that. At any rate, let's start forgiveness, okay?
So I think we did. Did we do what the ladder ends?
No, we didn't do
Oh,
that.
We didn't.
thank you.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, and we're right
And
on
I think
target here.
what you've been talking about too also comes from the same teaching as erase yourself utterly, which is it's all about, instead of self confirmation, it's about God confirmation.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good.
And that goes right along with erase yourself
Stop
utterly.
being so egotistical, Jim. It's not all about you.
Yeah.
And yet it is all about you, but not you alone. Damn. Don't be so arrogant. Don't be so greedy. You have a mighty role to play, but you're not the only one. So that would have me rise up as to, you know how there's this aspiration to do something bigger than we alone ourselves can do, like run a hospital or come together to. That's our natural inheritance. That's what has to be free. That's what comes from the stillness, doesn't it? Was there more?
Yeah.
So are we ready to continue with the latter ends? Thank you for helping me to finish with this, right? I'm showing actually is, I don't know, Kathleen, right? Page 8, top of
Yep.
page 8. Thank you.
The latter ends. Prayer is a way to true humility. And here again, it rises slowly up and grows in strength and love and holiness. Let it but leave the ground where it begins to rise to God, and true humility will come at last to grace the mind that thought it was alone and stood against the world. Humility brings peace because it does not claim that you must rule the universe nor judge all things as you would have them be. All little gods it gladly lays aside, not in resentment, but in honesty and recognition that they do not serve.
Comments here? We're getting it. Does that make sense based on what we were just talking about? It's not about you. You're part of something bigger, right?
And I think that also relates to what Sue was saying about self-love. As you begin to have self-love, this is how this whole paragraph starts to evolve. You have to love yourself first to see that all the mistakes that you think you made were just illusions, and and that you are pure and that you are whole. And then you come to the place where it says, but in honesty and recognition, you see they do not serve.
Absolutely. You can't solve a problem that you're unwilling to admit to.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it's the gateway to the most remarkable blessings you could ever find, because it's being honest.
Well, it's also bringing yourself to the point where the illusion is no longer the illusion.
What do you mean?
It means you lose everything that you've thought and you believe no longer exists, because you know that it's part of the illusion. Therefore, the illusion is no longer the illusion, but the big truth. The big truth.
The big truth is I made a mistake. What do you think?
No, I don't think the big truth is that I that's already long gone, because that was part of the illusion. But standing in what we would call the power, so to speak.
Yeah, it's just that, and I think you raise a good point. We're starting some distance apart, because I think it takes a while to give up.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. It doesn't happen overnight, but that's what the progression is.
Right. Ultimately.
Right.
So when we talk, I'm just bringing it back into this discussion of prayer. The process is to first be willing to, you kind of got to work through some illusions are more attractive than others phase. Like, a lot of times I won't remember that every prayer has to include my brothers and sisters, or that every prayer has to be free from judgment in order to be true prayer. Every prayer has to come from the perspective of the whole, instead of anything that's a win-lose. Any sort of win-lose can't get through.
And that's just part of the journey. What we're talking about is what you're describing, and it's just part of the journey. It doesn't. Yeah, I think we're saying about the same thing, but only in different ways.
We are. It's just that mine has more recognition for process in between, because our brothers and sisters here, their timelines and whatever paths may hold different things, and that's okay.
Yeah, everyone is separate and everyone is different.
Yeah.
And
but
we're all heading in the same direction.
Yeah. And that's what freedom of expression, how it would travel. They wouldn't be all roped into the same speed and things of that nature. What do you do the rest of you think? Are there other comments here about these phases as we go along this path? Okay. It's quite a matter of perfecting, isn't it? And for some of us, it could seem to take a while. Let's go on. We did paragraph 1, Are we up to Gina yet? Are you there, Gina?
I'm here.
Yay!
So paragraph 2, right?
Yes.
Illusions and humility have goals so far apart they cannot coexist, nor share a dwelling place where they can meet. Where one has come, the other disappears. The truly humble have no goal but God because they need no idols, and defense no longer serves a purpose. Enemies are useless now because humility does not oppose. It does not hide in shame because it is content with what it is, knowing creation is the will of God. Its selflessness is self, and this it sees in every meeting, where it gladly joins with every son of God, whose purity it recognizes that it shares with him.
Any comments? So, Ron, would you do paragraph 3 and then maybe we can talk about it?
Yes. Now prayer is lifted from the world of things, of bodies, and of gods of every kind, and you can rest in holiness at last. And notice that gods is not capitalized.
Mhm.
Humility has come to teach you how to understand your glory as God's Son and recognize the arrogance of sin. A dream has veiled the face of Christ from you. Now can you look upon his sinlessness? High has the ladder risen. You have come almost to heaven. There is little more to learn before the journey is complete. Now can you say to everyone who comes to join the prayer with you, I cannot go without you, for you are part of me. And so he is in truth. Now can you pray only for what you truly share with him, for you have understood he never left, and you, who seemed alone, are one with him. Look at the capital letters, the small letters in him in the last paragraph. We're not talking about God here, we're talking about each other.
I'm with you, sir. Yeah. Anything you want to talk about? To me, the latter ends is kind of a summary of what we said before about true prayer, and that it doesn't ask for things, but rather is a constant contribution to the whole. How's that?
I like where it says, where I read, I cannot go without you, for you are a part of me, which shows how important we are to each other. We can't do it alone. We cannot get to heaven by ourselves. We do it with others.
I remember in the Bible where Jesus says, I am in you, and you are in me, and we are in the Father. Does that sound like one? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So here's the point, to me, going back to metaphors. How many times have we heard the same thing said in different ways and thought it was different because of the way it was said? You learn to see content no matter what the form. Would that help you to see in a clearer way? This is light and this is darkness. Oh, here's a form of darkness. Okay, I'll move that out the way. Oh, there's another form of darkness. Oh, it almost looked like light, but I could see what it was because I learned to see content no matter what the form. And do I want to be in light or darkness? Well, now I have a basis to choose that I can implement, right? I can see content. I can generalize, as Jesus would say in that introduction to the workbook lessons. I'm going to give you some metaphors, but take each one and use it all the time because they always work, no matter, hey, what exceptions are there to absolute?
None.
How much power is there in the purity of absolution? Unimaginable to us. So would I choose this puny power because I made a mistake in my self-concept? What is the sacrifice to give up this for that? Who in their right mind wouldn't make a good choice? It starts with my ego. Why would my ego not see the merits of this? Because my ego is insane. It is literally a thought system against the truth. When will my ego win this battle against the truth? But I can't explain that to my ego because it's insane. So what are my choices? To take my spiritual power, manage my ego. I'm not trying to get rid of it because I'm loving, right? I don't have to. It serves me well here in certain situations, but it's a poor leader being insane. Yes? So when you can see clearly, you can make some better choices and see if they make your life better. I don't know, do they work? That's not for me to say, right? But one day we'll come together and share experiences and we'll say, yeah, that was it. That thing that pulled up that little coincidence that saved your life. Resign now as your own teacher. Isn't that what Jesus says? where are we? I think we're beyond schedule. Thank you for listening. We're making some progress. Are you having a good time? Because it's time to collect, okay? Where did we leave off? And wasn't that at the end of paragraph 3 on
Right.
page 8?
Yes.
All right, good deal. So we'll start on paragraph 4 next time. Thank you for your kind attention, and I had a good time. It's nice coming together with like-minded people, and because without you, I'd be feeling like really weird, you know? Thank Thank you for listening. Any final comments or anything? We'll turn it over to Hilda to close. Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hilda, close us out.
Thank you, Jim.
Yes, sir.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. I am the light of God.
I am the light.
I am the light of God.
I am the love of God.
I am the love of God.
I am the power of God.
I am the power of God.
I am the presence of God.
I
am the presence of God.
Therefore,
therefore,
For
wherever I am,
Wherever I am,
wherever I
God
am,
is,
God
God
is,
is,
God is,
and all is well.
and all is
and
well.
all is well.
There is nothing to fear.
There is
There is only
nothing to
love.
fear.
There's only love.
Namaste.
and namaste to all of
Namaste.
you. Thank you for coming. Have a good week, okay?
Jim.
Keep the faith. Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Have a blessed week, everybody.
Thank you, Ron. Bye-bye.